Welcome, welcome. Tonight we're going to talk about more than just drinking more water. But even before that, why is it so important to drink water? But how do you get yourself in a rhythm of keeping that up? And then how do we keep you from just overhydrating or superhydrating where you feel you have to go to the bathroom all the time? We have a couple things we want to go over. How are you gauging if you're drinking enough water? There's a lot of ways to test that. How does your body become dehydrated? We'll talk about electrolytes, Gatorade type things. And how can you just make sure that there is enough minerals in your body? Because ultimately we're going to get to the point where minerals are going to get that water into your cells. How the heck do you feel like you're drinking enough water but you still feel dehydrated? Well, inflammation, a lot of factors roll into that, but we're going to dig into this a little bit and say, well, why is that even a factor? So let's get into how much first. So some people just need to start drinking more water, period. There is, that simple adage, 8 glasses of water a day. You've probably all heard that. Drink your 8 ounce glasses of water. Well, we're all kind of unique beings. It's a fine standard, I think. I'm not against that, but if we wanted to be tailored a little bit more to ourselves and just your body weight, what we typically will tell people is to drink half your body weight in ounces. But most adults should probably be consuming anywhere from maybe 3/4 of a gallon to a gallon of water a day, truly. That's about right. So if you're looking at a 150-pound person, that is a little bit over, that's over your 64 ounces of water. That's like 70, right? 5 ounces of water. So that's that 8 ounce glasses of water a day is that probably bare minimum, but increasing is important. Exercise, climate, health conditions, they're all going to matter. So obviously the most basic thing that can cause us to be dehydrated would be not drinking enough water. And again, if you're not getting closer to maybe those 90 ounces a day, then you probably are dehydrated. You just can't drink all your water at once. Your body can only filter and handle so much, it's going to just urinate out the rest. And that probably urination or so a little bit after that, it's going to be very clear. So one way of kind of testing yourself is very clear urine. That would let you know that at least your body's dumping water. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're hydrated, but it is one gauge. You could measure with urine sticks or specific gravity, and there are measurements on that you could look up online, but you could dipstick your urine every so often. There's other tests you can learn from those dipsticks. You can get them on Amazon. I can tell you a lot of things about your body too, but that's one way to really check that. But again, your body could be dumping water and still not be dehydrated inside. Okay, so that test doesn't tell you the whole story. Obviously, sweating. A lot of drinks out there, especially caffeinated drinks, coffees or sodas, things like that, are diuretics. So for one, a glass of coffee or a cup of coffee, you probably need an extra cup of water. You're already spilling out that water that you just drank. You think you drank in the coffee. Your palate might have felt like it got hydrated, but you're not hydrating your body at all. It's just dehydrating. So start your day off with a huge glass of water. Probably if you can do it, 24 ounces of water, just get that down. I just do it. And then put a little lemon in it. Doesn't hurt either. You get probably some minerals from that lemon. But that way, then you can have your coffee if you want. You probably won't feel like you had to down it just to feel hydrated in the morning because you're actually at least hydrated yourself first. And that keeps your body from dumping as much. Obviously, if people are sick, medications for sure. I don't know if you've ever seen there's medications for the side effects of medications. One of them is dry mouth. You get a medication just to have dry mouth, but it's because the other medication is not doing well. A lot of people on high blood pressure meds, they need more water because it dumps your water. If you have high blood pressure and we want to decrease your blood pressure, then we want to decrease the volume of your blood, so we just make you pee. But it didn't solve the reason that have high blood pressure, just solves the number, which does put you at lower risk, but obviously has other side effects. So working on all these things is important. Diabetes. So electrolytes is what's in your body naturally are minerals. They're just minerals. Magnesium, calcium, copper, potassium. These are all minerals, all right? You can see some of them listed here. Your body has a lot of water. There's actually 70% of your body has water. So your body needs water in order to function, and it's going to do everything it can to maintain a certain level in your blood. But that might mean it's robbing of the cells and other things. So these electrolytes, they help control where the water goes and how much of that quantity. These are the minerals you're looking at: potassium, magnesium, sodium, calcium. Table salt has some of this, but I wouldn't necessarily do it in just table salt. There are more whole food salts that are trace mineral salts, like Celtic sea salt, the Redmond's real salt. They have more of these minerals in there, but they're going to help your body do a lot of the important jobs, very important jobs. So if these mineral levels are off, water can move where it shouldn't. So if you sweat a lot, then you feel like you maybe have edema or you're swelling in your ankles, it's because the water's moved out of your cells into your tissues because it's following the minerals. That the lost minerals are not in your body anymore, and so the body's leaking water. We want to keep the water in the cells. So we want to make sure that the body can get minerals in the cells. If you have the right amount of minerals in the right places, then the body can draw the water where it needs to be. If not, then it doesn't matter how much water you're drinking. If you don't have the minerals to help, it's going to be a problem. And we'll get to this, but minerals, most of us are mineral deficient in some way. Our soils are depleted, and many of our minerals, when they tested a peach back in 1950, but it was about 50% less minerals in that peach than there was 1950 to 1975. Just farming practices and different things changed a lot. Our foods, even if you're eating good foods, they probably don't have the minerals that they used to. They're not grown in the soil, which is where it gets the minerals. So you might ask, well, wouldn't should my water have minerals? It normally did, because you would probably get it out of a stream that flowed over rocks and pick up minerals. But our water is very much treated and affected, and we want you to filter it at this point to get a lot of the junk out of the water. But then in the same sense, reverse osmosis will take all the minerals out of the water, all impurities. So now your water is kind of what some people call dead water, and we need to kind of remineralize it or remake it alive. So this is where you could be drinking and not feeling hydrated. So the minerals are key, and in the right balances. Again, here's when we look at this. When you're looking at these things, this is where do you find minerals in water? Well, reverse osmosis really has almost none. Now you can buy these filters. They're called post filters, and they run over more magnesium and some potassium and calcium, and they try to put minerals back in your reverse osmosis water, but typically it doesn't pull that much out of there, but they try that. But tap water will have some for sure. It's not like there's a filter that gets rid of all that, so that's not a bad thing. Spring water has a little more from nature, anymore the way those are processed and gotten to you. There's balance. Well water is going to have a lot more. Like I said, it's from the ground. Right? It's where it is. And then obviously a bottled mineral water where we actually put the minerals in there on purpose. That's where you're going to get kind of the most when you're drinking waters. Now, what we usually suggest with that is if you can do this without buying a bunch of mineral water, you basically buy mineral drops for your water. They're just called trace mineral drops. It's a super concentrated liquid. Usually it's from Salt Lake in Utah or some places like that. The mineral drops, you probably last you for a while, and usually when we were getting them, it was like $24 for that was a small tube, but you only drop in a couple of drops of water in each cup of water. So those were simple things to get. So pH is a big deal. A lot of people become acidic. That's another thing you could test with your urine strip if you ever wanted to, is your pH of your urine. It should be pretty much right about 7, maybe slightly acidic, slightly alkaline, like just above or below 7. But too far, we know the body's in a lot of an acidic state, which is inflammatory, causes us to be stiff and sore and ache. And that also is affecting and tells us you might need more minerals too. So using water and the pH balance is huge, and that's why we do the minerals. It's kind of a chart, but again, we want to be close to neutral with your body's urination and your water when you're drinking it. A little bit alkaline is not a bad thing. It's not going to necessarily alkalize your body, but it tells you there's some minerals in there. Okay. I think when they test bottled water, it's more acidic usually, which isn't so good. Plus the plastic that it's in, I would avoid that as much as you can. Obviously, kidneys are the primary organ, removing excess acids. So if it's more acidic, you're going to urinate more and more just to get rid of some of that. More about acidity. So when you're acidic, it's going to be usually due to poor diet. Stress can cause you to be acidic. We used to test people's pH all the time, and the more stressed someone was, and no matter how many minerals we gave them, they were always still acidic. We knew that it was more emotional stressors that challenged your body than it was just the minerals imbalances. Kidney dysfunction, dehydration, alcohol, tobacco use. Yeah, alcohol is a diuretic as well. If you're drinking alcohol, you definitely should drink more water. Chronic illnesses can be part of that, but this acidic factor is what we're trying to minimize with hydration and minerals. Muscle cramps and things like that definitely can be due to this acidity, definitely a lack of minerals, or at least the minerals in your tissues. You might be getting them, but they're not getting in your tissues. That kind of a side note with the body and repair. A lot of things we usually recommend. My nutritionist wasn't able to stay. He was going to jump in, but he told me to let you know also that obviously minerals are very deficient. That's a big part of the talk. But fish oil supplements, omega-3s, those actually help pull those minerals into your cells. If the minerals, you might not be absorbing them well, that's a digestive issue, but if you're getting them in, but they're not getting the cells, it's because that omega-3s are deficient in your body. Fibromyalgia symptoms, digestive complaints, all these things can be due to acidity in the body. So this is why minerals are so important, the hydration, how it works together, and obviously our diet and our stress are part of that. Again, we talk about this, but these electrolytes help keep your pH in balance. They're basically making your body stay in that harmonious state. And when it's not, you know it. You feel more stiff, more sore, more agitated, more inflamed. All those things are part of that. So how do we make sure, you're getting enough of these things? Let's go through that a little bit. I think that would be key. I will tell you some tips too. So most people, Gatorade's really good at educating the public that everyone needs, Gatorade, because you're all athletes who are running around in Florida for 4 hours in the sun, right? Oh no, we're not. Most of us aren't doing that. I say Gatorade definitely had its place. Basically, these athletes were completely depleted of glycogen stores, and so if they wanted to continue to perform, they needed some sugar because they didn't have it anywhere else, and they couldn't just get it quickly. And the minerals were important, so they put that together. Now, the original Gatorade really wasn't probably anywhere near what the Gatorade formula is now. Once Pepsi bought it and they tried to sell it, they put high fructose corn syrup and dyes and all kinds of junk. If you know now, but Gatorade now has the low sugar or no sugar because they realize most people aren't buying the junk anymore because it's just sugar. Most Gatorade type drinks are too much sugar. You'll see more and more though are going to lower sugar. They're using stevia. Enough people have said, hey, this is silly, but they're typically empty calories. They're not usually the right balance for everyday needs for most people. Like I said, that's why it's called Gatorade. You know why? It was the guy from Florida Gators. Yeah. Their athletic trainer developed this. That's why it's called Gatorade. That's what the Florida Gators won the Gator Bowl, and that's why it's called Gatorade. But that's why. There are electrolytes in it, but there are better sources. So Gatorade, not the best. Some of the natural sources of electrolytes. So this is some of the places where you're going to want to get some of these things. This is why we crave chocolate a lot of times because it is high in magnesium. Magnesium is deficient in about 90% of my patients. There could be tests we do, but we typically just have most people try to get magnesium. One thing that's not on there is actually kiwis. Kiwis are one of your best pre-workout foods, to be honest. We've got a little bit of fructose in there. They've got magnesium and other vitamin C, really good. But these green leafy vegetables, for potassium, everyone knows bananas, but a little bit lower sugar option would be avocados. If you're trying to keep your sugars a little lower, sweet potatoes, oranges. Sodium, where you can get that salt, well, obviously sea salt, sure. Pickles. If people ever cramp up a lot, people tell them to drink pickle juice. Yeah, right? But it's just because of salt that's in there. But there are probably some of the minerals that those pickles pull out from those cucumbers, that actually helps. So broths, things like that. Calcium-wise, dairy is definitely an option. It's not usually my first option. I tell many people almonds have even more calcium than dairy, so they can be dairy-free with that. Sardines, chia seeds. Have you ever had chia seed pudding? The best way to make it, simplest, you don't even need to add any sweetener really at all. But if you buy the coconut cream in the can, like the full fat, you dump that in a bowl, and then it's probably about a 1/4 cup of chia seeds. And if you want, you put a little vanilla, maybe a little stevia, or a little maple syrup, or a little honey if you want. You could do that after. But you basically get in a bowl, kind of shake it up, try to mix it, and then just put it in the fridge all night. Then it will become like a pudding. And the chia seeds swell up, and it's really no sugar if you didn't add it. And you got the protein and some of the minerals from the chia seeds, and it's really tasty. It's a great morning snack. It's a great morning go. Put some fruit with it. Yeah, those are some of those things. So this is what I was talking about. We sell these. It really, this company we liked, and we've used them for a long time. But you can see the mineral makeup in some of these. There's a decent amount of magnesium in there. You got the chloride, sodium, potassium. You get some of those in. There's just trace minerals. It's not like overwhelming. Now, if you tried this straight up, like without any water, you're gonna not be happy. So yeah, this was that from the ocean. These ones, you just take them out of the packet, and you just could drink them, and they're salty, but not like that bottle would taste with a drop. That's just too concentrated. It just feels like it sucks it all out of your mouth. That's crazy. I do it just for fun, but these are a little bit. These actually at the same concentrate. This isn't the same concentration what you saw. This company, they found that in the ocean, the concentration of all the minerals in the ocean actually exactly match the concentrations we should have in our bodies. Isn't that kind of wild? There are definitely electrolyte drinks and things you could do. I would just say, try to avoid sugar added to them, dyes, colorings, fake sugars, stuff like that. Okay, but just start eating more of your fruits and vegetables. But again, it's hard to get those minerals out of there. Okay. Cool. Last thing before I end. So most of my patients who know they should be drinking more water or get stuck during the day not remembering to drink it, what I've found the best thing for me is I'd buy a water bottle that is see-through. And the water bottles, you can get them on Amazon, and they have all the times of the day listed right on them. Usually it's 8. It's going to be half a day. So if you're just trying to drink 8 glasses of water, it's a 32-ounce bottle, and it will start at 8 o'clock and goes till whatever would be halfway through. I don't know, noon maybe. And then it would go from noon to 5 or 6 or something like that. It just breaks it. So if you have this bottle with you all day and it's 10 o'clock, like you said, I have it with me, but I didn't drink it. Well, it's 10 o'clock, and where's your water line? Is it at 8? I at least got to get to 10. If by it's lunchtime, because ideally when you drink your water, the best way to hydrate is actually before your meals, or not right away during your meals. When you start drinking a lot with your meals, you're actually affecting the absorbability of your food. So we want to stay hydrated away from our meals, actually. And yes, it's great to get our hydration through vegetables and fruits. Those actually do hydrate us. So know that if you're not just drinking the water, fruits and vegetables are a great way to hydrate yourself with the minerals. But for most, if you feel like you have to pound a lot of water while you're eating, then probably what you're eating might not be the best foods for you. So a lot of times, maybe too many carbs or different things that your body just needs help, like help me digest this. So if you can drink the water up till lunch, and then you have lunch, you might have a little something to drink with it, but then you drink after lunch, up to dinner, then you haven't hydrated yourself. You've done it small throughout the day, and you've had a little gauge that says, hey, it's 10 o'clock, just little reminders. You guys have a good night. We'll see you guys next week, all right?